Hello everybody, welcome to a new video on the channel. This video is going to be one of my final parts, even though I do keep saying that, but this is going to be one of my final parts of my in-depth Blu-ray collection, because there are some films that I am aware I may not have shown in this video series specifically, and not gone into my thoughts on them too much, so I thought I'll show the ones that I've seen, because the ones I haven't seen are stored away for me to wait to watch in my drawers, and I'm not going to go through sorting through them. So I'm just going to go through the ones I don't think I've shown in these videos, and just give my brief thoughts on them. I apologise if I've missed any out, but because I've been doing this video series for a while, I've tried to remember all the ones, but may not have shown them all, so just get on with it. First up is 17 again, starring Zac Efron. This is like sort of a body swap film. Obviously it's where he goes into his younger self's body when he was 17 and has to try and do it all over again, fix his marriage. And it's just a really good comedy. It's heartwarming. It's got good comedy moments in it. The cast is good. Zac Efron's good, and it's just quite a good, decent comedy, really. So yeah, happy to have that. Next up is one I don't believe I've actually shown on the channel yet, because I just forgot, and that is the Age of Adaline, starring Blake Lively, Harrison Ford, Ellen Burstyn, amongst others. And it's basically about this young woman in the 20s who survives a near-death experience, and from then on doesn't age, doesn't get any older. And yeah, it's a love story set over the ages, and yeah, it's a pretty decent film. Liked it. Could have been better. I did like the fact that Harrison Ford was in it, because you don't really see many of these types of films from him, so it was just something different for him. And yeah, it's just a fun watch, enjoyable film. So yeah, that's The Age of Adaline. Next up is one I went to the cinema to see, and that is American Made, starring Tom Cruise. This is based on a true lie, as it says on the front cover, and basically about Barry Seal, I believe his name is. And he was a drug runner for both the CIA and the Mexican drug cartel, Pablo Escobar, back in the 80s, I believe. And he kept going backwards and forwards for each of them, and just got involved because he was a pilot, so he basically just took the drugs here to there. And yeah, it was a good film from what I remember. Tom Cruise doesn't do too many films like this nowadays. It's mainly just action, so it's nice to see him go back to do something like this, because I think he was personally better in like dramas, these types of films. So yeah, that's American Made. Next up is one that a lot of people find overrated. Personally, I don't, although it has been a very long time since I've seen it. I did recently get given a copy of this in my latest subscriber mail video that I did. So I already had a copy, but this is the copy that was given to me, and I've just chucked the slipcover on top from my old copy, and that is Avatar, directed by James Cameron. I remember really liking this and watching this a lot when it first came out. This was actually the first DVD I got when I started collecting. I got this pretty much as soon as it came out, because I was interested in watching it, and I watched it on repeat for a long time. So yeah, that was the first DVD I got, I believe. It was either this or Iron Man 2, but I believe it was this. This came before Iron Man 2. So yeah, happy to have this on Blu-ray now. Give it a rewatch soon before the new one comes out next year. Well, hopefully next year, because it does keep getting delayed. But I think it will be next year now. But yeah, decent film. I like these types of sci-fi films. I like James Cameron. So yeah, that is Avatar. Next up is one that I watched recently. Fortunately, this is a cover reprinted job from CEX, but it didn't bother me too much because it was a film I wanted to watch, and I'm glad I did, because I really enjoyed it. And that is Blood Diamond, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Connelly, and Djimon Hounsou. Set in the late 90s, when Sierra Leone was overtaken by when they had the Civil War, and they had the army, the bad army, can't remember the name, don't think it says on the back, that was basically taking over and slaughtering villages and fishermen. And it's about a fisherman whose family's taken, and he basically just wants to get them back. And find this blood diamond that he found and hidden. So Leonardo DiCaprio's character helps him, as does Jennifer Connelly's character, who is an American journalist reporting. And yeah, it's a good story. I don't know if it's a true story or not. I don't think so. It doesn't say anywhere on here. But it was nominated for quite a few Academy Awards, as you can see on the cover. Directed by Edward Zwick, who did The Last Samurai, which is one of my favourite Tom Cruise films. And yeah, this is just a good film. Would recommend it if you're into these sorts of films. If you like Leonardo DiCaprio, it's a good film, good watch. So that is Blood Diamond. Next up is Cowboys and Aliens with Daniel Craig, Harrison Ford and Olivia Wilde. This is quite good, actually. It did get panned, I believe, when it came out. Directed by Jon Favreau, who obviously did the first two Iron Man films, The Jungle Book and The Lion King. And he did Elf as well, one of my favourite Christmas films. But this is basically set in the Wild West when aliens come and invade. And it's quite good. It's a good concept, and I had a lot of fun with it. I think it's great having Harrison Ford in this type of film, along with Daniel Craig. I thought they worked really well together. I just really enjoyed it. I thought it was just something different, fresh, and something that I had a lot of fun with. So yeah, that is Cowboys and Aliens. Next up is Dead Man Walking, a film directed by Tim Robbins and starring Susan Sarandon and Sean Penn, and it's based on a true story about this man who is on death row for raping and murdering two young teenagers. And Susan Sarandon's like this spiritual advisor, she's like a nun or something like that, that helps him basically whilst he's on death row, tries to get to the bottom of what actually happened. But I thought this film was quite boring personally. Didn't hook me. The performances were really good though. The score was really good, but I think it was just the story didn't have me hooked really. And I really wanted it to because of the two actors anchoring this film. Yes, I'll probably give this another go in a few years' time, because I've only just watched this recently. It isn't a film I'm going to get rid of because, as I said, the acting was good, and I don't know how hard this is going to be to get hold of in the near future. It cost me £5 as it was, so it's not one I'm just going to give away. I will give it another chance in the future, but yeah, that is Dead Man Walking. Next up is Downton Abbey, the movie. I love this series. I watched all of the series when they were on. So when they said they were going to do a film, I knew I was going to watch it, and I thought it was really good. It stands on its own, so if you've not really seen the series, you could go ahead and watch this, and you'll still probably enjoy it if you like these types of films. It's more the characters that are really interesting, because I'm not really one for period pieces, but because the characters are so interesting, I just love the series and I love the film, and I'm so happy we're getting another film next year. So yeah, I'd recommend it if you're into this sort of thing, or just if you like a good character film, because it's got a whole bunch of good characters in this, with Maggie Smith leading them, being like the matriarch of this family, and yeah, just a good film. Next up is one I watched about a week ago now. I had watched it before, but not for a long time, so I knew I had to rewatch it, and I love this film. It's so funny. I think the chemistry between these two are great, and that is Due Date with Robert Downey Jr. and Zach Galifianakis. Directed by Todd Phillips, who did all of the Hangover films. Also stars Jamie Foxx as well, in a small role, and it's just really funny. The humour in this is my type of humour. Stupid humour. In places, I think Zach Galifianakis was great he had a few good years. He had obviously the Hangover films. He did this, and then he also did The Campaign with Will Ferrell, which I really like. I need to get that. But he's not done so much nowadays. But he used to be really good in those days. And yeah, this is just a great film. If you like just a throwaway comedy for an hour and a half, definitely recommend this because it is really good, really funny. So yeah, that's Due Date. And next up we have Edward Scissorhands. I watched this for the first time last year. This was like when I turned and changed my opinion of Tim Burton. Before watching this, I was definitely not a fan of Tim Burton. The only films I'd seen of his were Alice in Wonderland, which was okay, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which I thought was horrible, Big Eyes, which I was very indifferent about because, you know, it was a while ago and I didn't really have much thoughts on that. Dark Shadows, which I actually do enjoy, and that was pretty much it. And then last year I watched this along with Big Fish, which I absolutely loved, Batman, which is one of my favourite films now. So yeah, I mean, I've definitely converted. I'm definitely now a fan of Tim Burton. I still need to watch Batman Returns and Beetlejuice. There are probably a few others I need to watch as well. Mars Attacks I watched as well last year. Really like that as well. So yep, just building up my films of his that I've seen, and this is a good one. This is one of my favourites. It's just a really good film. Um, Definitely recommend this. The reason I didn't like him before is because I don't like gothic elements in films, and he is quite a gothic-y director, but this didn't really have too much of it, to be honest, so that is why I did really enjoy this. That is Edward Scissorhands. Next up is The Expendables 2, which I got recently. Great cast, great action film. I like this more than the first one, but it's been a while since I've seen all of them, so I will need to rewatch them again. Just need the third one now, and then I can rewatch them all. But this is a great action cast, and I'm looking forward to see it, because I think hopefully they are going to be doing a new one soon. So yeah, really like these films, The Expendables 2. Next up is The Favourite. Olivia Colman won Best Actress for this 2 years ago now, I think. And I went to the cinema to watch it and didn't have really good thoughts on it like some people did, but I thought it was okay. I thought the acting was great, the cinematography was great, and the costumes were great. It was just a bit weird, but this was £1, so I thought I'd add it to the collection because I can give it another go then. Maybe I'll like it more on a second watch, but yeah, really nice slipcover to this as well. And because it won an Oscar, I thought, why the hell not? So yeah, that is The Favourite. And then one that I also watched recently, Flight Plan with Jodie Foster. If you've not seen this, I would definitely recommend this. This is such a good film. I would highly recommend this. Basically, it's Jodie Foster plays an architect, and she helps design planes. And something happens in her family, a loss, and her daughter have to go back home from Germany where they were living to America. So they board this plane, and whilst they're on this plane in the air, her daughter goes missing, and it's basically a case of, is she crazy or is she being serious? Is there something to worry about? And it was just excellent. The twists were really good. The acting from Jodie Foster was good. Sean Bean was in it, and I love Sean Bean and everything. And yeah, it's just a really good film. To think this is the same director that directed Snake Eyes, which was just not good at all. This was his first big film in Hollywood. So, but yeah, definitely recommend this if you can get your hands on it, be it DVD, Blu-ray, streaming, whatever. Watch this. Only an hour and a half, so not wasting your time, I don't think. Next up is The General's Daughter, which recently got a Blu-ray release. One of my favourite John Travolta films, which again, I watched it the first time last year. Really good. Really good twists. Reminded me a lot of another film called The Presidio with Sean Connery and Mark Harmon. Basically about the military police investigating a murder, same sort of thing. John Travolta plays the lead investigator, and there's, I believe she's just like a co-investigator or something, and she used to go out with him that helps him get to the bottom of it. You got a great supporting cast there. Obviously John Travolta, Madeline Stowe, James Cromwell, who plays the general in the title, Timothy Hutton, James Woods. It's just a really good film. Definitely would recommend this, especially if you like these types of films. I got this the day of its release, which I don't do very often for films, but every now and then you get films that come out on Blu-ray for the first time, and I'm like, gotta get that day it comes out. I did the same with The Last Castle, because I love that film as well, but I believe I already showed that in my videos, so I won't show that again. But yeah, General's Daughter, great film. Next up is The Grand Budapest Hotel, obviously directed by Wes Anderson, his last live action film he did. I just love his work, I love his style. It's been a long time since I watched this. I believe I watched this when it first came out, cannot remember a lot about it. Wasn't a big fan of his back then, hadn't really seen much. Still not seen a great deal of his work. I do really need to get and watch more of his work, but I've not got any of them, so I'll just have to wait, because I know a lot of them are only on Criterion, and I don't want to start collecting Criterions. So I have seen The Life Aquatic, which I really liked. Fantastic Mr. Fox, which was the first one I watched of his, which I liked. Isle of Dogs. So I've seen a few of his, but not as much as I should have. And I'm looking forward to The French Dispatch and the one he's doing after that, which I believe has just begun filming. But yeah, great cast. He always gets a great cast for his films. That's one good thing. I mean, let me just read off the cast here. Ralph Fiennes, F. Murray Abraham, Matteo Almeric, who was the villain in Quantum of Solace, Adrian Brody, Willem Dafoe, Jeff Goldblum, Harvey Keitel, Jude Law, Bill Murray, Edward Norton, Saoirse Ronan, Jason Schwartzman, Lea Seydoux, Tilda Swinton, Tom Wilkinson, Owen Wilson, and Tony Revolori. I think that's how you say his name. He's in the Spider-Man films. What a cast, and they're all great in this from what I remember. It's just one that I need to rewatch again, because I just remember loving it. So this is going to be one I watch soon, hopefully. That's Grand Budapest Hotel. Next up is Gravity. This I watched 2 nights ago. Rewatched, rather, I should say. Oh, this is just there's not much I can say other than this is a great film. The score is amazing. The special effects are fantastic. Just the way that this film was directed, the way that Sandra Bullock just led this film on pretty much on her own for the majority of the film. And it's a type of film that you'd look at and you think, well, that's going to be boring, just people in space floating around space for an hour and a half. But it's not. It's so captivating. It's just such a good film, and I definitely recommend checking it out if you haven't seen it, because I don't think it will disappoint. It is a great film. Next up is one that I love, and that is Grudge Match, with obviously De Niro and Stallone. Also have Kevin Hart, Alan Arkin, Kim Basinger, and John Bernthal. Just a really good film, really funny film. As it says on the back, it's Rocky versus Raging Bull. It's a comedy. It's really good. It's one of those films that you look back and you think, oh yeah, they did that film. There's another film, Las Vegas, I really need to get. I love that film as well. I love these types of films where you get two great Hollywood actors that come together, sometimes for the first time, and just make a really good film. And I think this is a really good film. It's really funny. It's just got a good story to it, and I love these types of films just in general. So yeah, I definitely recommend checking this out, and this is again one that I need to watch again soon because I just love it. Next up we have The 100-Foot Journey, starring Helen Mirren, or should I say Dame Helen Mirren, I believe. And it's basically about this Indian family who moved to this small village. They're chefs, and they open up this restaurant across the road from Helen Mirren's Michelin star winning French restaurant, and they kind of clash because obviously it's literally across the road from her. Then become friends. This is a great film. I got the book actually as well, which I've not read all the way through, but I am planning on doing so. Just the power behind this. I mean, it's directed by Lasse Hallström, who's done films like The Cider House Rules. He did Chocolat. Then he's done some not rom-coms, romantic dramas like Dear John. What was the other one he did? He did something else that I'm forgetting, blanking on. But yeah, great director. And then you've also got, this is produced by Steven Spielberg and Oprah Winfrey. And as I said, starring Helen Mirren. Um, just a really good film, feel good film. I got this for 50p in CX, which was one of the best bargains I've got. It's this, I can't find many places. As well, I've just read screenplay by Stephen Knight, who obviously created Peaky Blinders. So yeah, that's another power to the film. Just, if you can find this, I definitely recommend watching it, because it's just a feel-good, uplifting film. And again, with quite a few of these I need to rewatch again soon, because it's been a while. So yeah. Next up is If I Stay, starring Chloe Grace Moretz. This is about a young girl who, her and her family get in a car accident, and she's in a coma, and it's basically her looking back on her relationship with this boy, because she fell in love with this boy, and posing the question if she's going to stay or not, as the title suggests. Again, really good film. With a lot of these films, they're not long, which is good. They're just as long as they need to be. This is just over an hour and a half. So yeah, but this was just a really good film. Really sad as well. If you're into romantic dramas, this is one I definitely would recommend. As you know from watching my channel, I am big on romantic dramas. Quite a lot of my collection is full of romantic dramas. So yeah, but yeah, really happy to have this, because it's a great film. Next up is one I watched last week, Invictus, starring Morgan Freeman and Matt Damon. This is about the Rugby World Cup back in the 90s, mid-90s, obviously with Nelson Mandela. And this is more than just a rugby film. This is about a man, a great man, one of the greatest leaders we've ever had, bringing a country back together again after it's fallen apart, which he does. And you wouldn't think he would be able to do it, because South Africa, rather, obviously went through apartheid, and they hated each other. The black people and the white people hated each other for years. But this really helped them bring together again, and he really did help South Africa as a country back in the 90s. And you really can see in this film, Morgan Freeman, I mean, what a great cast, and one of the best castings in a film, personally. And this is just a fantastic film, directed by Clint Eastwood. I mean, you couldn't get a better director if you tried, for this type of film. So yeah, definitely recommend this. What a fantastic film. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Robert Downey Jr., Val Kilmer, Michelle Monaghan. Yeah, just, this is great. Really funny. Shane Black, I think he just did, no, he wrote and directed this. This and The Nice Guys, two of my favourite films. Just the mix of comedy, it's like kind of deadpan, and it's just the comedy, and Robert Downey Jr. again, I think he's a fantastic actor, in anything. I mean, this, I love. Due Date, as I've already said. The Judge is again one of my favourite films. Obviously all of his films where he played Iron Man, and there's just so many more. But this, yeah, just a really good film. Recommend this to everyone. It's a shame I'm not going to get into it too much. Val Kilmer, I know they've just released a documentary which I really want to watch, because his life is just, it's very sad what happened to him, because obviously he got throat cancer, and he just deteriorated rapidly. I think he's getting back now. I think they've just invented a new technology, this company that he started using, so it's not a voice box, but he's basically got his voice back, but not literally. But yeah, this is just a great film, so I'm not going to get too much more into Val Kilmer, but yeah, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Next up is Les Miserables. I've seen this once. I did not think I'd like it, but I actually did, because I didn't like the fact that it's pretty much singing the whole way through. There's not any dialogue, it is just singing. But I liked it. I thought it told a really good story. The cast was perfect. I mean, you've got Hugh Jackman, Russell Crowe, Anne Hathaway, Amanda Seyfried, Eddie Redmayne, Helena Bonham Carter, and Sacha Baron Cohen. I don't know if it says anyone else on the back. Probably not. That is it. But yeah, really good musical. Really like this. Won 3 Academy Awards, including Best Supporting Actress for Anne Hathaway. And yeah, just a really good film. Recommend it if you like your musicals. This one I picked up from Poundland not too long ago, Peter Rabbit. I wanted to get this because obviously the sequel's just been released on Blu-ray, so I can get that soon once it goes down in price a bit and I can afford it. But yeah, went to the cinema to see this when it came out. Really liked it. Just a nice family film. Although I don't like James Corden, but he didn't get on my nerves in this because it was just his voice. So yeah, that is Peter Rabbit. Next up is Poseidon. Obviously this is a remake of the Poseidon Adventure. This stars Josh Lucas, Kurt Russell, Richard Dreyfuss, amongst others. Obviously it's about a cruise liner that I think it turns upside down because it's a tidal wave and they've got to basically escape and survive. Excuse me. Really good film. Again, a lot of films that are an hour and a half. Some people say an hour and a half films usually aren't good, but I've seen a lot of films that are an hour and a half and they're perfect for what they are. This again, an hour and a half, does what it needs to do in that time, and it's just a really satisfying disaster film. Really like it. So yeah, that is Poseidon. Then we have The Purge, starring Ethan Hawke. Who else is in this? Lena Headey. Yeah, obviously this everyone, so I believe everyone knows what The Purge is about. Basically, as it says on the front cover, one night a year, all crimes legal. So people go around killing people, robbing things, and it's about this story of this family who are just trying to survive Purge night and people that are trying to get in to kill them basically for one reason or another. And it's just a really gripping film. Again, I expect, yeah, an hour and 25, not long at all. Does what it needs to do in that time. I love all of the Purge films. I've still got the last two to watch, the Forever Purge and the first Purge, so I'll watch them soon. But yeah, this is the start to my Purge collection, so yep, happy to have that. Sorry, this video is going to go on longer than normal my videos do, probably about 40 minutes, so feel free to skip ahead to bits you want to watch. There's not too much more though. Next up is The Sentinel, starring Michael Douglas, Kiefer Sutherland and Eva Longoria. Really like this. Obviously this is where Michael Douglas plays a Secret Service agent and he's basically framed for something that he didn't do, so he has to go on the run and prove his innocence. And you've got Kiefer Sutherland and Eva Longoria chasing him down. They're the FBI agents chasing him down, and he's basically got to clear his name and save the president's life. Bit like In the Line of Fire, but I love Michael Douglas. Love this film. Just think it's really good. And again, with a lot of these films, I need to watch them again soon because I love them. I mean, I only buy films that I either love or really like for my collection, or ones I've not seen, obviously. Sausage Party. Funny. I know it's not for everyone. It's not a great, very well made film. But it's just really funny. I just find it funny and absurd, and it's just one of those comedies you can just chuck on and watch in the background. So yeah, that is Sausage Party. 7 Psychopaths. I watched this recently. Great film. I mean, it's Martin McDonagh did this and 3 Billboards and In Bruges. I've seen this in 3 Billboards. They're like 5-star films for me. I really want to watch In Bruges now. I believe he is either just or is about in the next few weeks starting production on his new one, which I can't for the life of me think what the name. It's got a funny name, but it's got Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson in again. But for some reason I just can't. I think it's called The Banshees of. I don't want to say the last name because I can't think of how you say it. Begins with an I. It's The Banshees of something, but I'm looking forward to it. This is a great film, as is 3 Billboards. I really want to see it in Bruges, as I said. But yeah, this is just good. Obviously, it's about a writer who's writing a screenplay about 7 psychopaths, and he needs to get inspiration, and boy does he get some inspiration. Great. You couldn't have got a better cast for this film. Sam Rockwell, Christopher Walken, Woody Harrelson, obviously Colin Farrell as the writer. Just fantastic film. Love this film. Then we have Star Trek, the start of the Kelvin timeline trilogy, J.J. Abrams, before he did Star Wars. Really like this film. Again, I've not seen the Star Trek films for a long time. These are the only Star Trek things that I've seen, but I remember really liking this. I love the music in this. The cast is great, and I just love this film in general. In fact, I love all three. Next, obviously, Star Trek Into Darkness. Again, great. Adding Benedict Cumberbatch as Khan in this. Um, Again, not much I can say other than I really like this one as well. And then you've got Star Trek Beyond, different director. I think it's Justin Lin that did this, the Fast and Furious guy. Idris Elba as the villain. Again, just really liked it. I like these films, so I might have to start watching more Star Trek stuff now because I definitely like this. So yeah, that's Star Trek Beyond. A few more now, I think 4 more. V for Vendetta, which I think I watched last week as well. I watched a lot of films in the last week. Really good. Really like this. Natalie Portman, Hugo Weaving, John Hurt, great British cast. I mean, you got Stephen Fry, Stephen Rea. Who else was in this? Roger Alam, Tim Pickett-Smith. Just lots and lots of people. Rupert Graves. I could go on. I could literally go on because there were so many people in this, but it was a really good film. Different. It was very different, I must admit, but I did really like it. Thought it was really good. Definitely one that I think is going to become, if not already, a cult film. But yeah, just one I'd recommend. Decent film. Next up we have The Watch. Ben Stiller, Vince Vaughn, Jonah Hill, and Richard Ayoade. Love this film. I've seen this film so many times. Cracks me up. Basically, it's about a neighborhood watch group that has to deal with aliens trying to destroy the Earth. It's just funny. I mean, all the characters in this just absolutely crack me up. My favourite is Richard Ayoade. I love him anyway. Absolutely love, one of my favourite TV series is the IT Crowd. Absolutely love that. I think he was the best in that. Just so funny. And he's great in this as well. Just really good film. If you like comedies, definitely check this out. Sean Levy produced this, who obviously recently did Free Guy. Yeah, just really good film. Then my favourite, I think it's my favourite Martin Scorsese film, The Wolf of Wall Street, with Leonardo DiCaprio, Jonah Hill, Margot Robbie, Kyle Chandler, Rob Reiner, Jon Favreau, Matthew McConaughey. Lots of people are in this. But yeah, just a fantastic film, just so good. This is, to me, Scorsese's best. Goodfellas is probably his second best for me. But just love this film. Cannot give this enough praise. Just, I think it's his masterpiece in my opinion.